Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things. We are still hanging out down in Oregon. We've had some fun weather this winter, and we're supposed to have some wind today, which is fine because it is Paper Pumpkin Day. So as soon as I get home, I get to rip into this, and I'm really glad when I get to pick it up early enough in the day that I get to work on it. So stay tuned for Paper Pumpkin fun. All right, I'm home. We have a special box this time. I didn't point that out while we were driving home. The month's name is Here's to You. I have been remiss, I believe, the last couple of months in opening the box with you guys due to time constraints and wanting to get going on the alts, but today I am not in that huge of a hurry. Alright, so this is the birthday kit, which means we get free stencils. So, and a sponge, look at that. So we get a sponge. I will tell you with these sponges, I cut them into quarters. And let's see if I have it handy. Another tip with these sponges that I have enjoyed over the years are using these binder clips. Some people take these binder clips and you clip the edge because you're gonna have, it's gonna be like a pie, and so you take the end and you can label it with, if you want to use this for either a specific color or even just a color range like reds, oranges, greens, blues, purples, and browns. I tend to do that with these orange puffy sponges. You can add the label. In my case, I would take my label maker, love my label maker, and I would probably make a label right here. I will go ahead for the alternative version. I'll cut this and I'll assemble these pieces and give you a quick demo of that when the time comes. These are the stencils. There are 4 of them. Stars, here, let's put this aside. Stars, sun with rays, clouds, and this looks like a couple of mountain scenes. In fact, you get 1, 2, and then this is the inset of the mountain. So you actually get like 4 different mountains. 1, 2, the inset, flip this around, and you can get 3. You could even flip and use these upside down as well. So this, I like this stencil a lot. That looks like a great multi-purpose stencil. Lots of good stuff so far, and I'm just getting going. The stamp set, Here's to You. All the best for a happy, healthy, and prosperous year. I love the flowers. That one's hard to read. May your journey through life take you to many new and exciting places. I like this because we travel full-time, so we're always going to new places. I like the small cursive happy birthday and a cursive congrats. The trees, and here's some birds. Great stamp set. Love this. Our spot today is Calypso Coral. And let's see what supplies we have for this month. It looks like we have A2 cards. We have envelope inserts or envelope patterns. We will see which it is when we get this open. Craft envelopes, linen, Sahara Sand Baker's Twine, mini dimensionals. Oh, now this is nice. Okay, so we've got inserts separate, and they aren't even scored. So it's 4 of each, which means this is going to be really easy to turn into full backgrounds. They're 2 completely different styles. One's floral and one is the hatched rectangles. So I like the 2 different styles. Wonderful. We have then your craft. You could choose to, if you want to just use white envelopes, you can go ahead and cut these apart and use them as a rough background. I could see some fun distressing going on with these envelopes, making them into card front pieces. 2 different, oops, got some stuff in between here. 2 different bases. Solid color white core, meaning you can use the sanding trick that I have talked about, that is a Libby favorite. You can cut this apart, cut this down, do all sorts of treatments to it. We have some die cuts, 4 different, actually 8 different tree die cuts. And 4 different scenes. Nice to cut apart. Do different things with them. Labels. And these are actually strips, like layer strips with clouds. This is going to be a really good kit. And then this is green. So 4 of the light coral, 4 of the yellow, and 4 green. And that's everything, which is actually a lot. I think this is going to be one of those kits that can go a really long ways. I will go away now, start getting some materials out, pop all my pieces apart. Again, I haven't been doing the create because I go right to the alternatives. If you guys have an opinion, I've stopped that a long time ago, maybe a 1.5 to 2 years ago I stopped doing the create. But if you feel that I should do the create, let me know. I'm just curious. So I'm going to go away now and do some thinking, and I will be back as needed. If I just get all the pieces together, I will come back for the final layering reveal, and then we'll call this one done. I'm excited. Stay tuned. Okay, before I go too much further, I created a label. This is a 0.35 tall white with black letters. I'm going to just call it brown for now. It will fit right here when I'm done. I've got some scissors. If you want a smaller, you can go with smaller than quarters. I'm just going to go for the quarters. And let's get the brown label on here. If you haven't experimented with a label maker, I highly recommend it. I also cut the corners off so they're not sharp, and that will keep them from peeling up as easily. Years ago, not so many years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, when I was getting ready to sell everything, I was at my mom's and I found out she had never owned a label maker. So she actually inherited one of mine. I just let her have one. So basically, there's your nice handle for sponging. There's your label so you remember what color it's for. And you can have these closed or open. I like to leave them open. And that is a wonderful way to maintain your sponges. And then you can unclip them and clean them, change your what colors you want to use them for, whatever you want. So I wanted to get that done, and I will get back to going on working out some alternatives. Alright, I am back with a tip. So we have 4 stencils that we were given. I went ahead and did a quick stencil using the sponge that I went ahead and showed you how to make it easy to use. And I wanted to illustrate that when you are just doing a quick sponge, this was like a very quick, I was purposely trying to get the little grains of the sponge to show, and they show very easily. I used the bottom mountain, and you can see that with the thin border of protection, this is not quite wide enough. This is like a 4-inch wide. You get some over casting of the ink. So I have a fix for that. You could use any kind of tape you want. I have painter's tape, washi, and scotch. And the idea is to widen all 4 sides so that you can't sponge off onto your cardstock. And I'm going to use this particular material is Teflon, used for heat pressing, and you can peel off quite easily. It won't attach permanently, and I'm going to do washi first, all 4 sides, front and back, because this is going to be like a permanent adjustment to this stencil. Okay, back really quick. Here is a completed stencil using the washi. I went ahead and trimmed down the overlapping edges. And I wanted to say, if you don't have washi, I would do one side at a time. Oops, this one isn't even long enough. One side at a time with either the painter's tape or the scotch. And make sure you get it long enough so that the edges overlap completely. Okay, one last point that I want to make out. I have finished 3 of these, and I went ahead and trimmed off the edges and then added some folded over pieces of tape to finish off the edges so there weren't any sticky spots. So I'm here on the 3rd one, and like this is sticky, so I'm just taking a piece and folding it over front and back so that all 4 corners are nice and finished. My plan is these stencils are going to last me a long time, so I want to prepare them for long-term use. And I don't have a judgment yet on which material would have been best on these. I've just made one of each. And then I have a 4th one that I'll probably just go ahead and use washi, which would be my go-to material if I had all of the supplies that I do have. All right, and really quick, this is my 4th one now. And I want to show you that the best way to do it is front and back, one side at a time. Just like this. Get the front and back done. Then you don't have any sticky issue to work with, and you don't even need the silicone or Teflon if you don't want to. You can work around it. Pardon the noise in the background. Hub is working away on a project. Alright, all of the stencils are done, and I want to redo this mountain scene up a little higher on my page with the protection. Now, what you could do, this open space is also a risk of getting some ink on it, so I'm going to cover it. And if you're worried about it touching the paper below, you can run it along your clothes like I'm doing right now, just to give it a little less tacky feel so it won't tear the paper. Alright, so I was going for the dotted effect. Rather than sponge in a circle, you see I'm letting this sponge, which is got a rough surface. And that's when I went, oh, I'm gonna have to do something to protect the edges. There you go. So that's the non-spongy version. Now I'm gonna go in swirls from off the stencil to get a smoother finish. Start on the other side. Little darker on this side. Alright, so there you have it. I just wanted to show the two different styles of sponging. You can either just touch the sponge to the paper for the rough finish or sponge in circles. Alright, so that's all I'm going to do with the stencils. I will maybe make some projects with them, but I wanted to at least touch on preparing them for use, as well as a couple of quick techniques to consider. And this one on the bottom was kind of a mix of both. And you can even do multiple colors if you wanted to give it a more modeled look. Alright, so now I'm on to the envelopes and the inserts, and I just wanted to point out a couple of quick things. The envelope itself, I just took a trimmer around the edges, and I was also able to salvage a smaller piece from the back, and this is the whole front. Alright, the inserts are very cool. The floral, either of them can go horizontal or vertical. I've so far only done a floral vertical. I'm a mostly vertical card person. It's just what I end up doing. But I do want to point out that either of them are large enough to do horizontal and vertical. And then with these, I also ended up with an extra piece for this one and an extra vertical piece. So you should be able to cut up the inserts into quite a few pieces, and then being that I only did the vertical of the floral, here's the extra side piece that I ended up getting out of it, which is actually, I believe, the top. So that takes care of the envelopes and their inserts. Next, I want to do some simple stamping. We're going to just use Calypso Coral, but given that these are a scene, you could go a long ways by adding just black to be able to do black in the Calypso Coral. But I won't extend to that. I will just stick with the coral for the moment. This is a fresh, unstamped, or uninked stamp is what I'm saying. So we'll see what, I'm purposely trying to get the trees as solid as I can. I'm gonna do a quick huff on it. See, with the brand new stamps, you sometimes end up with the modeling, and then I didn't press hard enough to make sure that that section went. So the nice thing is I can flip it over and try again. If you had any kind of stamping tool, namely the Stamparatus, you could use the Stamparatus to repeat stamp until this is solid, but I'm demonstrating if I was a beginning stamper and I didn't have a tool like that. So I'm making sure I'm on a soft surface. Yeah, that's better. And I'm just throwing on a sentiment Taking off the birds. Adding more to this one because I can. Nope, I was too fast. I need to be careful because this is such a wide... That went pretty good. So even as a beginner, you can do your best to go back over the same area again. Because this is a big stamp, it's easy to do so. Where like if the birds came out not quite right, you would have a harder time doing a double of the birds. I want to get this one edge because I only want that tall tree just showing a little bit. And then I have the happy birthday. And there is a nice simple stamped card. I see I'm crooked on my trees, but I still think it's okay. I'm being a little bit over picky. So there's one simple stamp. I'm going to go ahead and grab my mountains and show you that you can do all sorts of fun projects, from one happy birthday to multiple sentiments across the bottom of the mountains. You could rotate and do the mountains repeated. All sorts of options with the stenciling for beginning stamping. Okay, so next we've got the floral. I like that. That is very whimsical and cute. Okay, I think I'm going to try very quickly get our stencils out. I'm going to pre-prepare, get that new word, some fuzzy untacked washi. Just gonna set it over here in case I need it, and I am going to I already have this particular mountain scene blocked off. I'm going to move this. I want to try something. getting a little bit past simple stamping, but I can't resist. There's a little tiny bit showing, so I'm going to make sure that I can't get any ink through. And I'm doing it wrong. What I'm trying to do is I want to use this inset, and I believe it has to be used with this one, the bottom open one. So be sure to think through your logic whether you want it to be colored or not colored, because you have the option of doing both. All right, and there we have our finished scene. So this concludes part 1 of preparation, preparing the stencils, cutting some of the materials, and the beginner stamping, including some stencil stamping effects. Please leave your comments, questions, or suggestions here on the video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And part 2 will be coming very soon, probably the end of today, maybe tomorrow morning. I love this kit. I knew it was going to be one of those kits that you could extend and do all sorts of things with. The biggest part was the free stencils that we got for Paper Pumpkin's birthday. So stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.